Fox host Sean Hannity is a liar. And in addition, a grifter. He was pretty shameless. Who knew he was lying to his audience about election fraud and did it anyway? Now, that's the takeaway from the recent New York Times report about the Fox News defamation lawsuit brought by Dominion Voting Systems. So now, Hannity had testified in the summer as part of that lawsuit. And, you're going to not be shocked that he knew that the voter fraud claims were full of crap, and that he was full of crap, and that Trump was full of crap, and still, said this. And he said, quote, "I did not believe it for 1 second," under oath. Now, that sounds a lot different than what he was saying in public. Because, of course. So, look, Hannity being honest for once, because he is under oath, and his confession came out of a court. It came out in court during a hearing. On Wednesday, to address several issues that needed to be resolved before the case heads to a jury trial scheduled to begin in April. So, he didn't believe it for a second, Hannity, but he sure really enjoyed hosting people like Sidney Powell, who was spreading insane conspiracy theories about, the Dominion machines, flipping votes to Joe Biden, Venezuela, in order to, make the United States into communism or something like that. I don't know. But instead of asking his guest or pushing back on her and saying, hey, okay, why don't you have some evidence? Why don't you present something to, make your case? Instead of that, we got this.
Evidence of corruption all across the country in countless districts. The machine ran an algorithm that shaved votes from Trump and awarded them to Biden. They used the machines to trash large batches of votes that should have been awarded to President Trump. And they used a machine to inject and add massive quantities of votes for Mr. Biden. The only reason we really found out how bad it was.
I thought Democrats told us that we like whistleblowers. You're saying that these people can't talk because they're going to lose their job.
Democrats don't like whistleblowers. They only like liars who claim they're whistleblowers.
They like hearsay whistleblowers. Listen, if these people have something to say, we got to be able to hear them. And, at some point, if everybody disagrees that the voting system is not the best, from the media, Democrats and Republicans, now we have to ask, why did we use them? When these people can speak, I'd love to have the chance to interview them. Sidney, thank you.
Why aren't the Democrats, why are they silencing the whistleblowers? Essentially, why are you keeping this up? Why can't we talk to them? Why can't we? We love the whistleblowers. Really? Love the whistleblowers. What about Assange? What did Donald Trump do with Julian Assange if he loves whistleblowers so much? Weird. Or the other ones, Reality Winner, for example. But okay, sure. One thing, God, looking at that video, and maybe it's just my screen, but did Hannity not look like super orange back then? I swear everyone had a Trump tan back then, like a fake bake. It's bizarre. Okay, but anyway, so that's Sean Hannity. It's weird that for someone who didn't believe it for a second, for 1 second, he sure entertained it quite a bit. In fact, talked about how, Democrats, why aren't they standing up for the whistleblower? These people, who have all this, seen all this fraud, why aren't the Democrats letting them speak out? I thought they liked whistleblowers. So basically, look, Sean Hannity, yes, he lied. Now, did what we see here and his admission, is that definitive proof of defamation? Well, I don't know. Defamation has a very, very high standards, and I can't tell. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't say for certain that this meets that very, very high standard. That's what the court has to figure out. That's why they're going to trial. But certainly what I do get from Hannity is that he, yes, was spreading fake news. And and look, Hannity's not the only one. Others at Fox News were also spreading this fake news, these conspiracy theories about the 2020 election. In fact, Dominion lawyers, according to the piece, argued in a courtroom on Wednesday that not a single Fox witness had produced anything that supported any of the bogus election fraud claims Trump and his supporters promoted after the 2020 presidential election. That includes, of course, our good friend Sidney Powell.
In Venezuela.
Yeah. And so Dominion lawyer Stephen Shackelford told the court that Hannity's doubts were echoed in other depositions with Fox hosts and executives, including Tucker Carlson. We got Tucker Carlson here.
They want to make you drink Starbucks every day from now until forever.
Forever. Okay. So yeah, Tucker Carlson, according to Shackelford, tried to squirm out of answering this question on what he really believes during his deposition. Hey, Tucker, what do you believe the election was stolen using the machines by Joe Biden in Venezuela? Well, I don't. There are maybe people that are saying these things, and maybe we should really listen to. I mean, let me ask you a question. No, Mr. Carlson, do you believe this or not? Do you believe that the election was stolen or not? He couldn't answer the question, kept squirming out of it. So interesting. In fact, Mr. Shackelford had started to elaborate about what Mr. Carlson had said privately, telling the judge about the existence of text messages the host had sent in November and December of 2020. However, the judge, Eric M. Davis, cut him off, leaving the specific contents of those texts unknown. I'd really like to see them. That would be very, very interesting. But we can't see them. The judge actually helped out in Fox's defense. Now, a second lawyer representing Dominion, Justin Nelson, told Judge Davis about the evidence obtained by Dominion showing that an employee of the Fox Corporation, the parent company of Fox News, had tried to intervene with the White House to stop Sidney Powell. According to Mr. Nelson, that employee had called the fraud claims, quote unquote, outlandish, and pressed Mr. Trump's staff to get rid of Powell, who was at the time advising the president on filing legal challenges to the results. But I'm sure that Fox Corporation executive was just some left-wing Antifa supporter. I mean, no, not supporter, left-wing Antifa super soldier. That's what he was. Yep, has to have been. That employee at the Fox Corporation, which I'm assuming is just filled with woke. So many woke people. Woke SJWs with blue, purple, and pink hair. That's right. We'll all support Joe Biden and communism. I mean, really, if I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to make that argument to rebut what that executive at Fox Corporation was saying about these nonsense election conspiracy theories. Because that's what they are. They're nonsense election conspiracy theories about like the ghost of Hugo Chavez stealing the election using Dominion voting machines. I mean, again, ridiculous, right? So now, that said, Trump did get rid of Sidney Powell because she was too crazy. Her Kraken turned out to be a floppy fish, a dead one at that. But Trump is still, at this moment, raging on Truth Social about the election being stolen, and even saying we should just overthrow the country. Just let's just do it already. Mask off. Let's just go full authoritarian and just take over. But for Fox News, it's obviously a lot more subtle because they have to protect themselves from defamation, even though they also have to pander to their audience, which has become increasingly inundated with conspiracy theories. So at that point, they knew that they were putting out fake news. And look, obviously, Fox News also has a history of just putting out false statements, false things. That's kind of their MO. That's what they do. But a lot of it, of course, is protected by the First Amendment. But defamation, of course, is not. And so you have to prove that there is malice here in their lies, specifically aimed at harming a person or organization. So that's where the high bar comes into play when it comes to a defamation lawsuit. And you can really make a comparison here with what Hannity was doing versus someone like Alex Jones. Alex Jones, you recall his defamation suit that he lost. Well, he lost due to, of course, not complying with discovery, but he just made the most outlandish statements. I mean, the most vicious statements against the Sandy Hook families. Oh, they're crisis actors. They didn't really die. Oh, I believe it. Oh yeah, there's something going on here. These Sandy Hook families, when they're sitting there, they're crying in one scene, and then they're laughing in another. I just don't think it happened ever. It's just an excuse to come take our guns. Where Sean Hannity is like, oh, I think the Democrat, don't they believe in whistleblower? Don't they believe in the First Amendment? Oh, they should allow these people to speak about the alleged fraud that they saw. I'm not quite saying fraud. So I don't know if Sean Hannity, again, he knows that it was BS, but it's how you present that information, or disinformation in this case, that really, walks the line between it being defamation and normally what Fox News does. And that is, of course, put out misinformation, but doing so with an air of a little bit of plausible deniability. So it is really interesting. It is really, really interesting. And so for Hannity, his aim is what it's always been: ratings. Look, when you're something like Sean Hannity that gets paid millions and millions of dollars to come out and basically be the protector of Republicans, other Republicans, Republican president, doesn't matter what they did, you're always going to defend Republicans. They're there to defend the home team. MSNBC is there also is sort of the opposing, right? They defend the Democrats pretty much no matter what they do. Fox News defends Republicans. And so that's what Sean Hannity signed up for. I don't think he signed up for this, election denial, but he still gave a platform to them. And that's what's, could be damning for him, because he didn't push back enough to allow his viewers to get the idea that, oh, Sean Hannity, watching Hannity's having all these guests, he must also believe in this, election conspiracy theory. So I don't know, but I do know Sean Hannity's going to do what Sean Hannity's going to do to make as much money as Sean Hannity can, because that's what it's about for him. It's about tax cuts for himself and getting ratings. And look, the Republican audience, they love the big lie. They loved it. And so that's why Fox News, people like Hannity, kept interviewing people like, Powell, to keep those ratings up, keep those people tuning in, keep them interested. And then, of course, bringing them on and not pushing back at all. But again, you run up to that fine line when it comes to defamation. And look, Dominion thinks we got enough to prove that Fox News absolutely, their hosts, they knew they were doing defamation and they still did it anyway. But it is going to be a very hard case for either of them to prove, honestly. So we'll have to see if Hannity and other Fox hosts were careful enough to, yes, entertain these conspiracy theories and their own viewers to keep them tuning in, while also just barely keeping themselves clear of defaming, Dominion and Smartmatic. It is an interesting case, and it will have, I believe, ramifications on news and the First Amendment in general. But, for Hannity, again, it just confirms what we already knew from a lot of these Fox hosts. They knew that what they were saying were lies, and still were continuing to spread them anyway for profit.